All right, peace, family. Like, share the video, hit that little bell. Now, we're going to talk about the history of South Africa. But we're going to start with a man named Karl Marx. And he a German explorer. And the thing about him, he the first white man to see what we know now as Great Zimbabwe. You see what I'm saying? Now, a little bit of history of Great Zimbabwe. Now, this is a trading post that's went into Botswana. You see what I'm saying? Tanzania, Kenya, and these are all trading posts for Great Zimbabwe. Now, Great Zimbabwe is known for iron smelting, gold smelting, and other blacksmith. You see what I'm saying? And some of these, you know, iron smelting areas, you see, that they find is over 40,000 years old. You see what I'm saying? And you can find pottery traded, far as China. And that's all the way almost in the West. You see, that's in the West. You see what I'm saying? So they was trading as far as China, not just through the Silk Road. How you think they would get stuff that far? You see what I'm saying? They had ships. You see what I'm saying? Now the Swahili culture is known for shipbuilding. You see, even to this day. Now, they got a thing that they call Adam's clock. Adam's clock. Now Adam's clock, they show they try to make it seem like they corrals. But what they are really are kingdoms. You see, a part of the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom. Now the Great Zimbabwe Kingdom, you will see them as you see uh uh big enclosures. You see what I'm saying? Big enclosures. Now, when these are aerial views we talking about, and I showed some of them uh, 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 on the sticker on the foot on the video. But these aerial views, you can see them all over southern Africa. And you can also see an unk, by the way, too. But you will see them all over southern Africa. But what's happened was when the British and the Portuguese came in, they burnt a lot of these cities down. And, later people would come in and use them as corrals to put their cattle in. Now, a lot of these images of these cities were drawn by the British and the Portuguese, and they still exist. So you could look up 100 cities that exist in Africa to this day, and the ruins are still there, but they were burned down by the British imperialism and all of that. Mapungwape, Guape, um, Karma, uh, Kita, other areas like that. But and I'm talking about now. The thing about the man Karl Marx is, let me jump into that. He comes to Africa looking for reading the Bible, and he see a place called Saphir, which they was the place of King Solomon's mines. Which King Solomon's mines, he traced it back to Sheba, and he figured out Sheba was an Ethiopian queen. So he went on in search of King Solomon's mines. You see what I'm saying? Now, King Solomon's mines, you know, that was in the Bible, where Sheba brings these gold, ornaments, and later Menelik and all of that. But different story for a different day. So he goes and search for these kingdoms in southern Africa. And, he gets to this place called Saphir. You see what I'm saying? Which is also mentioned in the Bible. I said it again. Just want y'all to know that. And then he goes to southern Africa, and he gets with some tribesmen, and he getting sick. He over there getting malaria, and he's traveling and traveling and traveling. And finally he gets to what he think is King Solomon's mines. You see what I'm saying? Because in the 1800s, they had that thinking to where there's no way in the world that Africans could build their own civilization, and they primitive and all of that, Sambo and all of that still. But he go over there, and he starts to find little fragments of iron smelting. He starts to find you know uh, uh you know where they've been smelting gold, and he's starting to find raw gold. And then he goes up further. He starts to see the ruins of Great Zimbabwe. Now, with that mind state of his thinking, to where there's no way this could be an African civilization, he started thinking, well, this got to be the Phoenicians. This got to be some white civilization, which we know the Phoenicians are natives of Taaka, and we know Taaka are Africans, so the Phoenicians are Africans. You see what I'm saying? But he, in his mind, there's no way Africans ever did anything of great value to contribute to civilization. So he got that mind state in his head, and he goes and check clues in the Bible about what type of wood that it was built, used in King Solomon mine. I think it was like cherry wood, and he took samples of that, this, that, and the third. And how the walls was built in circles and all of that, and the images that was drawn that he had of what King Solomon temple was. He was comparing it. So these are medieval practices that they use at that time. The best scientific practices that they had at that time. But in his mind, there's no way that Africans could build a civilization that big. Now the thing about it is, they only show you that one enclosure. But when you look at a bigger, they only show you just a small portion of it. Now, if you those enclosures are all over Southern Africa, and they call them Adam's clock. But if you look at some of the enclosures, they got pylons at the top. That means those enclosures was once enclosed. You see what I'm saying? They weren't just circles with high walls. They was enclosed structures. You see what I'm saying? So the thing about that is, when the British, the Portuguese, like I said, they burn these cities when they come over there. And the mercenaries, missionaries that they sent in there, they draw pictures of these cities. But if you could still see the ruins of these cities today, you see. Now Mapungwape, you see what I'm saying? They go a guy McGava, I think that's what his name was. McGava, that's what his name was. McGava. He goes up there digging after still got that mind state, and he thinking that it's some kind of Egyptians. You see what I'm saying? But to the Egyptians, to him too, was just like March. They were some kind of white civilization. You see what I'm saying? But now, if you look at the Zimbabwe flag, they got the Horus. You see, on the flag. And when you look at the Horus on the flag now, they find that that's an actual artifact that they find on the top of Mapungwape. They find the gold rhino. They find the Horus King. You see what I'm saying? The figure. Look on the map of it, and you will see the artifact too. You see when you do this study. That's what I was just in here looking at. But these kingdoms are all over Southern Africa, and and it's shocking to the mind, because a lot of they find the scepter. A lot of the stories from ancient Egypt match with the stories of Southern Africa. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, when you get to Paul Kruger and them, they earlier peoples had burnt down those settlements. So now we think that you know uh, uh, in the West we know less about these settlements than anywhere else in the world. You see what I'm saying? So you know when the British look at these settlements today, they still, Pretoria University, they still have a problem with saying that the Africans built these settlements. You know what I'm saying? These kingdoms. You see what I'm saying? Just to keep perpetuating what March used to think. You see what I'm saying? Now March ended up back in Germany and end up in a hospital sick, and he ended up jumping out the window of a hospital and ended up dying. You see what I'm saying? But we'll continue this history, because I'm gonna do this in 2 parts next. So y'all like, subscribe, and share, and I'm coming right back. Jump out.